Hi there, my name's Matt Pepper and I'm a Principal Sales Engineer based in the UK. In this video, we're going to discuss governed data discovery and why MicroStrategy is so unique in this area. After two framing slides, I'm then going to build a demonstration use case which connects data from multiple data sources but maintains the security and governance that an IT department demands. Okay, let's look at the first slide. On the left, you can see the traditional BI dashboard design. This is centralized reporting, normally IT-led, and is normally from a governed data warehouse, which has clearly defined calculations and objects. This is sometimes known as a company's golden source of truth. The downside of this process is that it initially takes time to define and calculate, plus is inflexible from a dashboard design setup. The second use case is the traditional data discovery process, which is normally business-led. Data is from whatever source is available. It could even have data from the data warehouse from the first use case, but it tends to be exported. Therefore, data governance is lost. It's very fast and flexible to create ad hoc analysis, which is why business users love it, but there is no governance. The calculations could be different in different dashboards, and there's no security as well, unless every dashboard is secured by that dashboard creator. Historically, this has meant that companies needed two separate reporting tools, one for standardized reporting and one for dashboard design. Although more recently, vendors from both of these areas have expanded their capabilities to include the other use case. What makes MicroStrategy unique is its ability to democratize the data. That is, to allow business users to link data from the first use case and then bring data in from the second use case. The security filters can flow across both data sources in the dashboard. For example, regional manager will only be able to see their region regardless of where that data has come from. There is no need to ask IT to build something, which allows the business users the security plus freedom to build whatever they want to do. There's no need to export data either from a governed source. Therefore, the IT department are happy. MicroStrategy also has amazing administrative tools. Therefore, there's the ability to ensure that users are not exporting PII, personal identifiable information, which is a huge company risk with GDPR nowadays. You can also monitor usage of key assets and improve the service from a dashboard design process. Okay, let's get on to that demonstration. I have got two actors in my demonstration. I have an end user who is Christine, an area manager. She's just going into a meeting and she requires some information which is going to help her decide which campaigns and where to target. She's contacted Matt, who, besides being a part-time model, is the go-to guy for when the field needs some analysis quickly. I'm going to take the role of Matt and build a dossier from two different data sources. I'm going to answer Christine's question, how can we be more effective in the next campaign? Okay, I'll start building. Step one is going to be creating a report, custom report, based upon existing objects that are already in the semantic graph. So here's the geography information, area, branch, and region. And then bringing in some metrics for each branch. So the opening balance, the closing balance, and the total income. This can be edited and changed anytime we want, but right now that's good enough. Now I'm going to bring in some Snowflake information. So the data is just a table of the campaign information that's held in Snowflake. And before I look at that, I just want to prepare the data, have a look and make sure it makes sense. So straight away, I want to see that branch. I want to map that to our project. This is the bit that makes sure that the security and governance is done. So I do a search for branch, I can find it and then link. Campaign is actually an attribute, not something I'm going to aggregate. So I'm going to swap that over and then just import it as an in-memory data set, because that is a better performance for the dossier overall. And there I have, you can see that the two different data sets, the ad hoc schema-based data set as well as the data tables, are now joined with that little link. And I'm just going to make some metrics. So number of customers is a good one to start with. And then possibly for the age and balance, I probably want to use the capabilities of just making an average, not a sum as it is in the data set. Quite easy to create derived metrics that way. I can select two different metrics, right click, and see that I want to create a percentage of the number of customers that said yes to a campaign. Let's start building. Right, so first of all, I'd like to have a graphical representation, so have a map. Now branch, because of the schema, has latitude and longitude, so I can do that and change the background quite quickly. And then I'm going to actually use the percentage of people that said yes as my color threshold. And I think I'm going to pick gold and purple as my color scheme for this dossier. One of the ways that you can create visualizations is by using the natural language querying. So for example, I can say, show me the top 10 jobs based upon who said yes or not. Or I could do something more advanced, such as show me a heat map of the areas by the metrics I've just created. Or I could get a little bit more complex and say, let's find out the correlation of the average balance to the average age, and then break it by the branches themselves. Now, once I've done that, I can move these visualizations around and do some formatting so that makes sense. Maybe put the numbers in, remove some lines. Yeah, that's a bit better. And then follow the same threshold coloring that I've done in the map. So using gold and purple. Get rid of that now, don't need it. Get rid of the chapters as there's only going to be one page. And then I'm going to move the heat map around. Once again, make sure that the color scheme is the same for everything. And then I'm going to bring that bubble chart there. I think sizing, coloring by it looks good. Yeah, let's make sure that works. But also let's try and size by the number of customers as well to make it a little bit more three-dimensional. And that could be quite useful. Okay, now I want to figure out the filtering capabilities. So I'd like to put the areas in so I can filter as myself. We will see later that Christine only has access to East and West Midlands. And because we're looking at campaigns, I'm going to bring the campaigns in as well. New to 2020 in dossiers is the attribute or metric selector. So what I'd like to do here is create the selector and then actually put campaign into the selector. Then I can select the target. So actually I'm going to select the visualizations I've just created, and you can see that you can select which attributes I want to swap with that selector. So when I apply it, you'll be able to see that campaign is an option and then default as in what's already in the visualization. And then if I select the campaign selector at the top, it swaps campaign with anything else that's already in those visualizations, giving me a completely different viewpoint. That's very useful and good to switch through. I'm also then going to make sure that if I drill or select the information, that I can then filter the other visualizations so I can have a little bit more detail. And yeah, I better save it before I forget all of my work. And I'm going to call it campaign analysis. Now at the top right, once I've saved, I can launch it and now look at it within library. So this is how Christine's going to be looking at it, although she'll be on her iPad. So first and foremost, I'm going to add it to my library so I can see. And then I'm going to check specifically how Christine will see it. So I can see the East and West Midlands. Looks like there's some correlation there with the people that said yes or no. Looking at the campaigns as well, probably I don't need all of those top 10. I could probably bring that down to about 6. Yeah. And then I'm going to flick between those two and I can see a huge group of people there that I think we need to look at, mostly in the East Midlands. There's a huge volume of customers there, and I think that's where she should be targeting. So I'm going to use collaboration. And then I'm going to put the filter that I've just selected by clicking there and then posting. So here's Christine's iPad. And you can see the message has come through. That comes as a notification and also an email. And it opens the dossier exactly on the page that I want to look at. And also, you can see she's only got access to East and West Midlands. That's the security profile sorted. And also, if I click the filter option there, that's exactly what I filtered there. So therefore, she can actually see, when clicking on the filters, the campaigns that I focused. Plus, once again, it's still filtered just purely on those East and West Midlands. So there you have it. I've created a dossier from 2 different data sources. One, the governed data set from IT. I've mapped the ungoverned data in Snowflake to that data set, so then Christine could only see the areas that she's allowed to see. I've then done some analysis very quickly and then shared it using our collaboration capabilities straight onto her iPad, and also having it filtered so she can have the analysis without having to press too many buttons. I think that's pretty good going in 8 minutes. Thank you very much for your time. I'll talk to you soon.